Today's class is going to be focused on hip mobility. This is oftentimes everybody's favorite because it can be super challenging and it gives you great results, or your hips will usually feel really good right afterwards. And often when people think about working on their hip mobility, they think about just stretching the hips to open them up. But often your hips could actually be tight because they're weak or weak in certain ranges. So we want to make sure that we're doing a good job at also strengthening the hips. So today's class is going to focus on a combination of those, and we'll touch a little bit on some hamstring mobility as well. Let's get right into it. We're going to start with a warm-up for the hips. This is going to take their hips through their full range of motion. So you're going to come into a side lying position. Now you can keep your arm either over your head or out in front of you, whatever's most comfortable. And then this hand is going to just come out in front of you so you can kind of lean into it. Because what we don't want to do is we don't want to roll back and away, because that's going to allow us to kind of compensate, not use as much hip. So we're going to kind of lean forward into that front arm. Important to maintain some stability through your core, because again, we don't want to roll forward and back as we're doing this movement. We want to maintain that same position and just move the top leg. So hand is going to be here. We're going to start by bending the knee and pulling that knee up as high as you can towards your chest or towards your face. From there, again, without moving anything else, open. Okay, so we're starting to feel some opening and stretching the hips and maybe the hamstrings. From here, you're going to start to rotate your hip. That means push your foot back. Keep your knee as high as you can. It might drop a little. That's okay. And then once you've rotated, now bring that knee down to match the other leg. As we reverse, squeeze your glute and kick your foot out behind you a little bit. Now open, and then you're going to start to lift that knee and drop the foot, so you're rotating back, bringing that knee into the chest. Now we're going to straighten that leg out, then do it again. Bring the knee up, open, so you're kind of contracting that bottom leg so that you're not letting anything else move, starting to rotate from the hip. Knees together, squeeze the glute. Try not to arch the back here, but just squeeze your glute to kick that foot out. Lift, reach that knee up, drop the foot. Extend. Let's do one more, nice and slow. Slower you go, the better control you get here, and the better you're able to move through those sticky pockets. Good, knees together, and kick it back, lift, rotate, back. Nice, so hopefully that hip and glute is nice and warm. We're just gonna flip around and do the same thing on the other side. So find your side lying position here. Again, arm can be up or slightly out. This hand will be in front of you, so you're rolling in and leaning on that hand. Now let's bend the knee, reach it up towards your chest. Now open, much as you can. Now start to rotate to bring that foot out behind you. Probably gonna feel a little sticky through that point. That's okay. Knees together. Squeeze your glute to reverse, lift, bring that knee up as the foot comes down. Straighten out. Let's do two more. Pull the knee up, open. Start to rotate, slower you go. The more you're gonna get out of this drill, the better you're gonna be able to control and coordinate the range of motion that you do have. So this drill is a great way to maintain range of motion of the hip, because we're kind of taking it through that full range of motion that the hips should have, or we would like them to have. Good, finishing up that last one, and go ahead and release. Okay, so for our next one, we're gonna get familiar with a position called 90-90. So for this position, we're gonna make a 90-degree angle with our front leg and our back leg. So that means that our front knee is gonna line up directly with where the edge of your pelvis is, and our back knee is gonna line up with where the edge of this side of your pelvis is. Okay, so you have two 90-degree angles here. Now, for some of you, this may be pretty tight on this hip. You can always lean out and away if it's a little too much stretch there. So the more upright you sit, the more challenging the stretch is going to be. The more you come down and out to the side, you're going to get a little bit of a more gentle stretch. So to start, we're gonna do a similar version of a stretch we did in our first class. So we're gonna keep our feet planted and we're going to lift the knees. Now you can take your hands behind you, make it a little bit easier, or you can keep your hands up, makes it a lot harder. So I'm gonna start with my hands behind me. I'm gonna just rotate, lift up. I'm gonna come through this, what we call bear sit position. So here, you're just kind of opening those knees up nice and wide, and then you're gonna slowly bring those knees into 90-90 on the other side. Okay, so we're gonna move through a few more here. Good, that's gonna be 2, and we're gonna go for 10. That's 3. Good, try to sit up as tall as you can. The less rounding you have, the more you're gonna feel those hips stretching out. And again, as you get warmed up, if you wanna try arms up, you can. Again, sit up as tall as possible. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, so now you're gonna meet me back in this bear sit position here, or bent leg middle split, whichever you wanna call it. So what we're gonna do for this one is, wherever you find yourself here, I want you to just toe to heel, walk your feet out a little bit wider, wide enough that you start to feel a big stretch on those inner thighs. Okay, so what we're gonna do from that position is you're going to flex and extend your spine. So by that, I mean you're going to flex or round your spine, and then you're gonna extend your spine. As you extend or lift your chest, you're gonna feel a bigger stretch, and grab hold of those ankles so you can pull yourself into that position. Let's do a few more. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I want you to hold this upright position as best you can. I'm just gonna shift forward again so you can see. Now we're gonna work on, remember I told you we're gonna work on some strength here? So we're gonna work on some hip and hamstring strength in this position. So what we wanna do is we wanna start strengthening up our end range in this position, which means that our nervous system will feel stronger and safer in that position, which means you'll be able to access it more easily. So what you'll do, again, sit up as tall as you can. You should feel a stretch here, but it shouldn't be like an unbearable stretch you can't hold. If it's too much, just take your feet in a little bit and don't go quite as wide to start. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna take your elbows to the inside of your knees. Now you're gonna place your fists or your hands, however close those arms are together, to touch. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some strength. So without letting the legs move, and you're using your arms to prevent that, I want you to start to squeeze your knees into your elbows at about 50% effort. So give me a 50% squeeze. You're gonna start to be firing up these inner thighs. Okay, then I want you to ramp that up to 60, 70, 80% effort, pushing the knees into the arms without letting them move, 90% effort. Now I want you to give me your safest, greatest effort. Squeeze the knees into the elbows and hold there for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I want you to pull your knees away from your elbows, pull them out as hard as you can, and sit up tall. Stay sitting up tall. You should feel those hips contracting. Pull the knees wide, hold there. 10, 9, 8, sit tall. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, take the hands down, relax, and now just slightly walk the feet out a little bit wider. Should have opened up a little bit more range for you there. Okay, and it might feel a little bit worse here, but try not to come out of the stretch. We're trying to talk to our nervous system and tell our nervous system that we're safe here. Feel free to do a few flex and extend with the spine like we did earlier if that helps. We're gonna do one more set of that same thing to help build that strength in the end range with your hips. Okay, so in your next extend, stay extended. We're gonna bring elbows in. Again, you might still be close enough to touch, or maybe you're out a little farther depending on your flexibility. So stay as tall as you can. Give me about 50% effort squeeze. Knees into the elbows, but the arms are not letting the legs move. So I'm doing isometric contraction, meaning I'm not moving. Ramp that to 60, 70%, 80%, 90%. Safest, greatest effort. You're driving in. Those legs should be shaking. You're working hard here. Hold 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now remember, pull your knees out and away from your elbows. Pull them out wide, pull them out wide. Sit up as tall as you can. Contract those hips. Hold, hold, hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take the hands out. Now walk your feet out a little wider. I know. Take them out. Good. Take a few nice deep breaths. 3 nice deep inhales, exhales here. Good. Now we're almost done. What I need you to do is you're going to walk your feet in a little bit, okay, just so you're not quite at as big of a stretch. We're going to do just a little bit more strengthening here, so stay with me. You're going to take your fingertips to the ground, palms flat if you want to make it harder, fingertips if it's already pretty challenging. Again, sit up as tall as you can. You're going to just elevate your right foot without moving anything else. Lift it up and hold. 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. Now lift your left foot. Good. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Come back to right. You're going to lift. Now I want you to straighten your leg as best you can and hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back in. Left side lift. Straighten as best you can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, back in. Last one, if you can, try it with me. Lift both feet, extend both legs, hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bring it in and relax. Okay, so those hip flexors probably on fire right now. Awesome job. So that's some good strengthening work for those guys. We're going to continue with a couple of more strengthening exercises. Don't worry, it won't be quite as intense as the one we just did. But now I want you to find your 90-90 position again. So you can start with that, let's say left foot forward, so we'll all be on the same leg. Okay, again, matching up here, so we have 90-degree angles. For this one, you can choose straight up, harder, lean out, a little bit easier, down to the elbow, easiest, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on this front hip on a little bit of external rotation, which means the foot coming up, this would be externally rotating my hip. So we're gonna work on some lift offs here, and you're going to place your hands down, you're gonna lift your front leg. Now, as you lift it, I want you to focus on pushing the knee down towards the floor and trying to lift the foot. It might not actually look like your foot is any higher, but I want you to imagine that you're rotating from that hip to try to lift your foot. That way, we're really gonna work the external rotators of your hip. Okay, so wherever you're at, again, you can do this here as well. You would do the same idea, okay? So what you're gonna do, lift your leg. Now imagine you're pushing your knee down and trying to lift your foot, okay? Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Let's do it again. Lift, knee down, foot up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax, go 2 more. Lift, drive the knee down, lift the foot, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax, and last one. Lift, 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 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Now we're just gonna stretch into that guy a little bit. So if you're down low, come up a little bit higher. You wanna make it harder, take your arms out. Easier, hands on the ground. You're just gonna lean forward, try to get that nice big stretch on the outside of that glute and thigh. Again, if you wanna make it harder, arms out, get a little extra load there. Either way is gonna be just fine. Take a few nice deep breaths. Good, coming back up. We're gonna focus on that back hip a little bit now. So I'm gonna rotate so you can see me. Now we're gonna work on some internal rotation of this back hip. So same idea, sitting up straight is harder. You can always bring it down or just lean out and away. So what we're gonna do with this guy is you're gonna keep your knee planted and you're gonna try to lift your foot off the ground. Okay, so I'm gonna drive my knee in and then I'm gonna lift my foot. Now I wanna try not to lean forward to do it, because when I do that, I'm not really gonna get that work in the hip here. So stay as tall as you can, core tight. Even think about tucking your pelvis under. Now drive your knee down and lift your back foot. Okay, you're gonna start to feel this hip and glute. It might feel almost like it's gonna cramp up. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. And drive down with that knee, lift the foot, tuck the pelvis, squeeze from here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax, 2 more. Drive the knee, lift the foot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On the last one, you have the option, if you want to try to lift your whole leg off the ground, you can. Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Take one hand towards this leg and just reach that opposite arm up and over. A little bit of a bigger stretch there. Good. Shake those guys out. Now we just got to do it all again on the other side. Okay, so meet me in your 90-90 when you're ready on that other side. You may notice that one side is a little tighter than the other. That's okay, and you may need a different position, whether that's just leaning out a little bit. So for me, my back hip's a little tighter on this side, so you might notice I have a little less range of motion there. Okay, so we're gonna start with that front leg. Remember your position, or find a new position, whatever works for you, where you can lift that leg off the ground just a little bit. Okay, so ready, lift the leg. Remember, you're pushing your knee down and trying to lift your foot so you feel the outside of that hip. 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest. And lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax and lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. One more. Lift off. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice work. We're going to move right over to the back hip. So rotate so you can see. Again, you can always lean out to modify. Okay, so first few, we're gonna go knee down, lift the foot. So stay as tall as you can. Try not to lean forward or arch your back. Tuck your tailbone under, drive the knee. Now lift your back foot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. If your foot is lifting like super high off the ground, you're probably leaning forward and compensating. So just make sure you're feeling it mostly in your glute and your hip by staying upright. Or you might be out too easy of a position, sit up taller, okay? Drive the knee, lift the foot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax and lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Last one, if you want to lift the whole leg, you can. Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. And go ahead and shake it out. For our next exercise, you're going to need something to place your hands on if your hamstrings aren't particularly flexible. So you can, if your hamstrings are really flexible, you can do it with your hands on the floor. But ideally, you're going to want something like either a wall, a tabletop, or something along those lines too. Just place your hands on and bring the floor to you. So we're going to do a little bit of what's called nerve flossing for the hamstring. So this is going to help in terms of doing a forward fold type of exercise. So this is a combination of opening up the hamstrings and strengthening the hips to help pull you down into that stretch. Now, this is a pretty nerve intensive stretch, so that's why we're going to do what's called nerve flossing, which is essentially just building up your nerve's tolerance to the stretch. So we don't want to hold a stretch that's very nerve intensive for long. We want to kind of move in and out of that nerve tension to, again, just kind of let your system adapt. So you're gonna take your hands onto your prop here. Whatever leg you're gonna work on, you're gonna step forward. The other leg is gonna step back. Now, how far back you step with that other leg and how wide it is kind of up to you. You can bend that leg. The main important factor is that this leg stays as straight as you can. So you want to try not to like micro bend that knee or to bend that leg. You want to try to keep it straight. You can think of locking your knee and squeezing your quad. And what we're going to do here is you're going to cat-cow your spine. So similar to what we did in the bear sit, you're going to think of flex your spine, extend your spine, or cat-cow. Now what this is going to do, you're going to notice there's a change in the position of my pelvis. So as I flex, I'm tucking my tailbone under. And as I extend, I'm sticking my butt out, which is going to put that hamstring on tension. You're going to kind of feel that nerve tension there. So we're just holding that for a few seconds and then releasing it, tensing it, releasing, tensing, releasing. Now, if you can't get this front leg totally straight, you might need a higher object to place your hands on, okay? But you want to be leaning forward at least a little bit so that you can work on that flexion and extension. Okay, so we're going to do 10 reps here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, if you want to intensify this in the future as your hamstrings get more mobile, you can simply elevate your toes. So you could elevate your toes against the box, or you could place something under your toes. So this is going to be much more intensive because we're placing that hamstring on a bigger stretch. So that's just for future reference. Now let's quickly test before we do the other side. I want you to just do a few spine roll downs. Tuck your chin, roll yourself down, reach for the floor, and see if you feel a difference in the tension on the hamstring we just did some nerve flossing on, and on the other side. Roll it back up. Do a few more just to feel that difference there. Personally, I kind of feel like I have one new hamstring and one old hamstring. Good, one more. Nice. Let's even that out with the other side. So you're going to step forward with the other side. Again, bend the back knee. You can come up onto the toes here. Try to lock out that leg by locking your knee and squeezing your quad muscles here. You're going to think about working through that cat-cow. Okay, it can be a very small movement. It might be a more subtle movement than what I'm doing, especially if your hamstrings are very tight. So as long as you feel like you're working towards flexion and extension, that's going to be good enough. Let's go for 5 more. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Okay, let's just test out a few more of those spine rolls. Another great way to stretch your hamstrings. Keep your quads tight. Roll it down, roll it back up. Let's do one more. Good. Now, as I mentioned, this is going to help with something like a forward fold, and just getting a deeper forward fold where your back is flat means that you have access to bigger range of motion through your hamstrings and your hips, and it's going to help you with squats, deadlifts, and really anything that you're doing that is going to take load off of your lower back, place it more in the hips and hamstrings. So as I mentioned, one element of that is opening up the hamstrings, which nerve flossing can be a great tool for. Another element is strengthening the hip flexors. So we did some work with strengthening the hip flexors already in this class, but now we're going to do one a little bit more specific to hip flexion position, which is going to help with that forward fold. So you're going to need either a wall or a stick or something to hold on to here. I'm just going to scoot these out of the way, because we don't want this to be a balance exercise. We want this to be a strength exercise. So again, you can just place your hand on a wall. That's going to be the easiest thing to do. Now, what we're gonna do is you're going to grab hold of your knee and you're gonna pull that knee up as high as you can. Now, try not to compromise the other side by bending the other knee. So stay up as tall as you can. Really think of squeezing the glute on the other side to keep yourself tall. So just get as high up as you can. Now what we're gonna do is you're gonna contract the hip flexor on this lifted leg, contract the glute and the quad on the lower leg, and you're gonna slowly release and try to hold there, okay? It might drop a little, but try to keep it up as high as you can. We'll hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, grab your knee, lift it up a little bit higher. We're gonna do that 2 more times. We're strengthening that hip here in its end range flexion. Go ahead and slowly release. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grab the knee. Last time. You guys got it. Release. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grab hold and slowly release. Woo, okay, hips got worked. Let's even that out on the last side. It's gonna be the last drill we're gonna do today. So let's finish strong here. Just go ahead and flip around. We're gonna find that position where our standing leg glute is squeezed, quad is squeezed, so that you're not softening that knee. Grab hold of this side, pull it up. Wherever your end range is fine. Slowly release as you squeeze the hip. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, grab hold of the knee, lift up a little bit higher, and squeeze. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grab your knee 1 last time and release. Squeeze that standing leg. Hold 10, 9, 8, lift it higher. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, grab your knee and slowly release. All right, lots of really good hip work for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed the class. Your hips would probably be a little or a lot sore tomorrow, so don't be too alarmed about that. But awesome job, and we'll see you next time.